Action against Vandy. Here's Taylor Zarzer, Matt Stinchcomb, and Alyssa Lang.
Welcome to the 100th homecoming game in Athens. We appreciate you, PB. This is Sanford Stadium on a beautiful sun-drenched Saturday afternoon. It's number 1 Georgia against Vanderbilt. It's SEC Network football presented by Allstate. What a beautiful scene in Sanford Stadium for the Dogs and the Doors. Let's come inside the press box here on this beautiful homecoming Saturday. With the unofficial homecoming king, Matt Stinchcomb, I'm Taylor Zarzer. You'll see Alyssa Lang in just a moment. In fact, actually, let's go right now to Alyssa with Kirby Smart.
Okay, Coach. All right, Coach, you talked about how intense practice was this week. What have you challenged your guys to accomplish today?
Well, we want to start fast. We want to be explosive. We want to create turnovers. Those are all things we're going to try to do every game, but especially today.
Your defense has a ton of respect for Vandy quarterback A.J. Swan. How do you limit his production?
Well, he's a good RPO thrower, so it's hard. You got to stop the run game, force him to do that. Got to make some plays out on the perimeter.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
He wants to always play to his standard, Stinch, and it's interesting. They're the defending national champions. They put up prolific numbers offensively, yet some dog people think maybe there's another gear for this team.
Well, and they've seen it. It's kind of a victim of their own success, especially offensively. When you open the season, 130 points to 10 allowed. That's dominance early in the year. They've kind of scuffled their way through the past couple of games, and then they've refound their footing versus Auburn. Be interesting to see, can they start fast here this afternoon, as Kirby Smart wishes.
Against a Vanderbilt team, they blew out 62-0 last year. This is not the same Vanderbilt team, significantly improved.
No question, and it really pivots on the quarterback position and the decision that Vanderbilt made to make this change to A.J. Swan, open up the passing game a little bit more. Too much boom or bust offensively. They wanted to extend drives, and A.J. Swan has been able to do that. So he's kind of weaponized the passing element of this offense, changes the complexion of what the Commodores do on that side of the ball.
How in the world does anybody stop this guy? One of the best players in all of college football is a sophomore tight end for the Dogs, Brock Bowers.
If Vanderbilt figures it out, they will be the first defense to do so, because this guy does it all, and quite literally so. The only thing he doesn't do is throw it to himself. He can tap passes, catches it in the slot. He's an excellent tight end and blocker. Can do a little bit of everything offensively for the Dogs and Brock Bowers.
What a start to his sophomore season. Look at this beautiful backdrop. It is 81 degrees. There is not a cloud in the sky. It's the 82nd meeting between Vandy and Georgia. Vandy owned this series in the early going. In fact, you see the first 10 meetings, they won 14 of the first 24. They've won 6 of the last 57. Their last win was here, Stinch called it, 2016. It's the first meeting in Athens in 4 years. Had that COVID cancellation 2 years ago. Vandy did win the toss, but deferred. Georgia is set to receive. Kearis Jackson watches it run past him. And Stetson Bennett and the Dog offense comes out to the field, Stinch, where they have struggled in the first quarter the last 3 weeks.
And the plays have been there. You go back and watch the tape versus Auburn, and it's inches. It's a decision to cut a football back into unblocked defenders if you press the hole. It's a bad ball out to the edge. Stetson Bennett talked about it. They're still completing almost 70% of his passes, but it's been a combination of drops and comfort with the wide receiving core.
Our guy Dario Noka's back in the studio. Don't you worry. He'll keep you posted on the Braves and Phillies. Braves are down 4-2 right now. And the Tide and the Vols getting underway too. He'll jump in and tell you what's happening there. Here, immediately it's Kenny McIntosh running hard for 8. It'll be second and short. We have seen McIntosh, Branson Robinson emerge last week. Dejon Edwards has been terrific. Kendall Milton's been a big part of the offense too, Stitch. He's banged up this week. But it's kind of whoever has the hot hand in the backfield.
Yeah, and Kenny McIntosh was a guy that Stetson Bennett actually mentioned in our meetings yesterday. Got to get him going in the ground game, build his confidence as a runner. Was a top receiver in the opening games for Georgia out of the backfield, but a guy that needs to take handoffs and get downhill.
No Milton, as we just said. A.D. Mitchell is still out at wide receiver. He's not playing today. Here's that toss ahead to Bowers. He's been so good with this play the last couple of years. Scored a touchdown against Vandy on it last year. He gives the Dogs a fresh set of downs.
You know, it's not often that defenses talk about, we got to have a locator on number 19 at all times because he can get the ball so many different ways.
Bennett across the middle. It's too strong for Big O Darnell Washington. It'll be 2nd down and 10. You know, Stinch, back to Bowers for just a second. This guy is so incredibly shy. He has no interest in any of the spotlight that's been brought on him the last couple of years by his incredible play. Todd Monken yesterday told us, the offensive coordinator, you don't need to coach him. He's already doing everything right.
Well, they talked about, you know, Christopher Smith a couple of weeks ago. He's full speed all the time in practice. The level of effort is outstanding in preparation.
2nd and 10. There's Bowers coming closer to the line, blocking in front. And McIntosh doesn't get much. CJ Taylor steps in for Vandy. It'll be 3rd and long for Georgia.
You know, Vanderbilt did a great job of bottling up the run game for Ole Miss last week. You see McIntosh a little hesitant there as he approached the line of scrimmage. Great job triggering right there by CJ Taylor, forcing a 3rd and long.
That's what we were talking about with the slow starts. Just 3 points in the last 3 games in the first quarter with 5 punts and a missed field goal. Here's 3rd and 8. Where does Stetson look to move the chains? Surveys the fields, got time, and he's got wide open Rosemy Jack Saint, who's down near the 30-yard line. 1st down, Georgia.
Plenty of time in the pocket that time. Vanderbilt bluffed as if they were going to pressure and then bailed. Rosemy Jack Saint got just behind the linebacker level watch. So you see both inside linebackers, and they end up baiting up Anthony Orji, biting on the underneath route for Brock Bowers. Opened up a window for Marcus Rosemy Jack Saint behind.
28-yard pickup for the junior from Pompano Beach, who's battled so many injuries in his career. Stetson hands it off to McIntosh, gets around the edge inside the 25-yard line where Jalen Mahoney makes the tackle after 7 more for the senior from Fort Lauderdale.
A play that Georgia likes to run. Outside run, capture the edge into the boundary. Creates an alley there along the sideline. McIntosh able to get outside. Mahoney able to get that tackle right there near the sideline, but not before a big gain on that first.
Stench McIntosh goes out. Dejon Edwards, who was so good in the red zone last week against Auburn, he's standing next to Bennett. Stetson on a design quarterback keeper. Look at how shifty he is. 1st down, Georgia, near the 14.
It's funny because he's so productive with his legs. Not many people think of Stetson Bennett as a dual threat quarterback. This is a draw all the way. Great job getting upfield by the offensive front, getting clean into that line of scrimmage. Obviously saw the big touchdown run last week versus Auburn. His speed is really underestimated, even now, after it's been demonstrated multiple times.
He turned on the Jets on that touchdown run last week. Georgia's been hit or miss in the red zone, depending on the game. Here they are again, inside the 15, and Edwards fights his way down to the 10. Instead, you could argue their 3 best opponents were Oregon, Auburn, South Carolina. They are 16 of 17 scoring touchdowns in the red zone against those 3. But against Mizzou, Kent State, and Samford, just 8 touchdowns and 18 red zone trips. Seems to be hit or miss with this bunch.
Yeah, and we've been here for 2 of those games, right? Kent State and Samford, and a lot of it was just miscues, especially in the passing game. Ball bouncing off receivers' hands in the end zone. But it's come down to a lack of execution there in those 3 ball games.
It's Edwards, and he's stopped in the backfield for a loss. Devin Lee read that perfectly for Vandy.
Great job fighting off the backside block of Broderick Jones. Just gets right across the face of Georgia's left tackle and gets upfield. Fantastic negative yardage play by the defensive front. Look at Devin Lee. Nate Clifton also was in on a play earlier. They've got some guys that are not only stout at the line of scrimmage, but do a good job getting upfield.
The sophomore from this state, Dunna, Georgia. This is the 10th play of the drive for Bennett at the 11. It's McIntosh going to the top of your screen. That's where Bennett will throw it. McIntosh makes a move. Touchdown, Georgia. McIntosh, the leading receiver for Georgia this season, out of the backfield, catches his 27th pass of the season, made Orji miss, and Georgia strikes first. And Jackpot Lesney gets the extra point. Stetson Bennett finally throws a touchdown pass. It's been 4 games for him since he's done that. It's 7-0 Georgia on homecoming against the Commodores in Sanford Stadium. Georgia start faster, check. Score a touchdown in the first quarter, check. In the touchdown pass drought, check. Georgia does all of it in the first drive.
You can't really ask for much more than that. Able to overcome a couple of 3rd and longs there on that drive.
Vandy gets it at the 25. Stinch, how about the move that McIntosh made on that touchdown?
What was interesting was Vanderbilt was a little late responding when they sent McIntosh out of the backfield pre-snap. Darnell Washington has an eligible to that side. You can see Anthony Orji late triggering out there, easy to cut back against that over pursuit. He's trying to compensate. You see Orji there, number 0, DeRicky Wright can't get there in time. Georgia sees that opportunity. There's a lot of grass to the right side of the formation with just that one eligible receiver in Washington attached at the end of the line of scrimmage.
A.J. Swan, who's from 2 hours west of here in White, Georgia, hands it off to Ray Davis, who's had a terrific year at tailback. He gets 1. Nazir Stackhouse on the tackle. Swan, 4th straight start, Stinch. Terrific arm and even better attitude.
It's a guy that they've really rallied around. He's a true freshman. They're trying to make things easy for him early on, but he has definitely been under duress and has responded well. His poise has been outstanding. Made his first road start versus Alabama.
Fakes to Davis across the middle. He throws a dart for a first down to Bresnahan, the senior from Cumming, Georgia, for 12. First down, Vanderbilt.
There's the RPO game that Coach Smart talked about in the pregame. They want to get the run game going. Well, they stuffed the first down run. They come right back, stab a slant in there to Bresnahan off the RPO. Kirby Smart talked about how adept A.J. Swan is in that element of their offense.
Vandy's got 3 receivers to the top, but instead Swan goes to the bottom and Shepard gets drilled at the 41-yard line after a pickup of 3. There's Clark Lee. They're going to call that incomplete, by the way. Lee is one of 12 head coaches that is coaching his alma mater, just like Kirby Smart. 5-13 in a season and a half, but 3-3 this year has already surpassed how many wins they had last year. It is a full rebuild in Nashville.
No question. And we talk about this is the 3rd straight top 10 team that they will have faced, and also a top 25 in Wake Forest.
Swan looks around and he finds an open receiver with a flag coming in late up at the 46-yard line. McGowan made the catch.
To number 16, Jaden McGowan. Keely Ringo with the stop.
Today's referee is Steve Marlowe.
Pass interference. Offense number 10. 15-yard penalty. Replay second down.
Gavin Schoenwald, the tight end, Stinch, negates that catch.
It goes without saying. You're talking about an offense wants to stay ahead in the down and distance. Definitely wasn't Schoenwald. I think he just got the numbers confused that time. McGowan working back to the football. That's what created the separation.
Line of scrimmage is the Vanderbilt 23.
See the significant improvement Vandy has made, scoring 20 more points per game. Better record, certainly more competitive play so far this season, especially since Swan has taken over at quarterback. He hands to Davis, and Davis gets up to the 27 where Zion Logue makes the tackle. Georgia again is playing without Jalen Carter, Stinch, and Smile Munden is also out again this week.
They played well defensively last week. You see Tramel Walthour, Nolan Smith rotating out. They're deep along the defensive front. Georgia's able to put a lot of bodies in there. A flag popped out late on that play.
Offense number 50. Penalties half the distance to the goal. The down will count. It'll be third down.
Bradley Ashmore, the right guard, called for that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
I think that might have occurred there in that big pile. You know, they haven't had a lot of rushing room in a few attempts early on in this.
Following the penalty against Vanderbilt, line of scrimmage is back to
Right,
the common
there's number 50 right there in Ashmore, right side of the screen. Surely it wasn't that shove there towards the end. Didn't look like there was much there to that.
Clark Lee said we can't beat ourselves. Already 2 big penalties on their first offensive possession. 3 penalties for 45 yards, and Davis just wants to give punter Matthew Hayball some room. Michael Williams made the tackle for Georgia, and it's 4th down.
Michael Williams, a guy that they are incredibly high on. Was productive in the season opener versus Oregon, but a guy that has to work on his run-down defense. Otherwise, he's been largely situational. Obvious passing downs is when he's been out there most.
Hayball's been one of the best punters in the country, 5th best average at 45, almost 46 yards per punt, standing on his own goal line. Ladd McConkey waits for Georgia deep. Another terrific punt by Hayball, and McConkey calls for the fair catch inside the 35-yard line. It's a 51-yard punt. Georgia gets it back, up 7-0 on homecoming.
Studio, we update Alabama, Tennessee. Alabama had to punt on its first possession. Tennessee goes 56 yards. Jabari Small punches it in. Vols strike first. First quarter touchdown allowed by Bama in the last 13 games, guys.
Here, it's 7-0 Georgia over the Commodores, and the Dogs will start their second possession. Here you see the SEC standings. Huge game for the Vols. If they beat Alabama, they're right there with Georgia, and of course those two play in a couple of weeks.
Tennessee coming into the season, you're sitting there going, I don't know, maybe these guys are, maybe they're the 3rd best team in the conference. You can make a case Mississippi State or Ole Miss as well.
Ole Miss and Mississippi State play Alabama coming up. So all this is about to get decided on who will get back to Atlanta. Bennett roaming in the pocket, and a nice ball to Dylan Bell, the true freshman, and he gets loose. They miss the tackle, and Bell's still free, and he's gone. 66 yards. Stinch, did he lose some footwear here?
Somebody did. Didn't slow him down, though. He kind of double clutches the catch. Secures it. Is he down anywhere? I don't know. That right elbow. Was that right elbow down by Dylan Bell? We did not hear a whistle.
Catch or touchdown. Replay is under.
There was not a whistle. When Dylan Bell was going down. If anything, it would be his right elbow. He's coming over the top of C.J. Taylor. Watch him as he comes over the top of Taylor. Where's that right elbow? He is clearly on top of Taylor there.
Can't see the right one. The left one's fine.
It's going to be tough to tell. Nothing establishing him down there.
Yeah, unless we have a look from the Vanderbilt sideline, Stench, I don't know how you could overturn this.
I mean, it certainly seems possible that this right elbow, see if we can tell here. Look at where Dylan Bell's right elbow, does it make contact with the turf? I mean, the shadow makes it incredibly difficult to tell. That along with Kane Patterson kind of coming into your frame.
How about if I say, I think it did, but I can't prove it?
Yeah, I mean, the threshold is indisputable video evidence. It seems like it would be likely that it would be down.
Let's see what they say here with Jordan Craddock, today's replay official.
After further review, the ball carrier's right elbow was down. Therefore, it'll be Georgia's ball, 1st and 10, just beyond the 45-yard line.
Ultimately, Stinch, they probably made the right call. Maybe they have another look that we didn't see. If so, that right elbow down at the 46, so it's a completion of 11 yards to Bell.
I think that it's that last look as he's getting up off of the top of C.J. Taylor. He had to have been pushing off with something. It's not his forearm there. Regardless, a first down near midfield for the Georgia offense.
4 completions to 4 different receivers for Bennett so far. And a handoff to Branson Robinson. Robinson doesn't get anything as C.J. Taylor was back for another tackle. He was in the backfield a bunch last week against Ole Miss.
C.J. Taylor having a heck of a game early on. So you see the two pullers. Branson a little bit indecisive there. Hit it up in there and follow your pulling right tackle, Warren McClendon.
2nd and 9.
Already the 4th tackle for C.J. Taylor in this game.
A hush has fallen over Athens suddenly on the 2nd and 9. And there's Brock Bowers, who makes a catch for a couple as Kane Patterson makes the tackle. Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, Stinch, was saying yesterday, if possible, Brock Bowers is not getting the football enough.
Which you think about so many different playmakers to try to spread the ball around. He's even said, Brock Bowers, you line him up at tailback. Guy played tailback in high school. He'd be a really good tailback, maybe one of our best tailbacks.
3rd and 8 for Bennett. They're already 2 of 2 on this down. And the pass goes to Dylan Bell, and Bell is short. To Ricky Wright, who had those 2 interceptions last week, came up to make the tackle and force the 4th down.
You see the spread of the receivers in the Georgia offense, and for a moment contemplating going for it plus territory. There's really only one true receiver on that list. It's Ladd McConkey. You've got 2 tight ends and a running back in Kenny McIntosh. Speaks to the absence of A.D. Mitchell, who's not been playing. Came back, got some snaps last week versus Auburn.
Brett Thorson punting for the 15th time this season, the freshman from Australia, with Will Shepherd standing deep. Thorson, a perfect punt that is caught at the 12-yard line.
First and 10 for the Commodores following the TV time.
Back in just a moment in Athens.
SEC Network Football is presented by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Back in Athens as Vanderbilt trails Georgia 7-0. Here with 4:46 to go in the first quarter. A.J. Swan, 4th straight start for Vanderbilt after Mike Wright started the first few games. Hasn't turned the ball over yet as the starting quarterback, and hands to Ray Davis after Jamon Dumas Johnson greeted him. 2-yard pickup. Now Wright started the first couple of games, and he had 6 touchdown passes, 4 touchdown runs, but was not accurate enough with the football, Stinch. But they have found a new role for him in the red zone. This guy comes in, uses his legs. Tough for the defense to stop.
There's no doubt. I think we'll see Mike Wright today, especially because Vanderbilt, with only 2 scholarship running backs on the trip, Ray Davis and Patrick Smith, available. And of course, Mike Wright brings that run element to quarterback.
And it's Davis again. Can't get the edge. Look at that closing speed by Christopher Smith.
You said it. You talk about eating up grass. Ray Davis trying to get wide, nowhere to cut it up inside. Christopher Smith, and if he doesn't get him, it's probably Ryan Davis in pursuit. But watch 29 shoot in there. Veteran player in the secondary for the University of Georgia, got that interception early in the season versus Oregon. A leader in the back end.
3rd and 11. Swan, one-on-one ball, and it's Shepard dropped it. He had it. He had beaten Keely Ringo, but couldn't bring it to his body. An uncharacteristic mistake by Shepard, 4th down.
And Keely Ringo mistimes his jump. It's kind of reminiscent of what you saw in the title game last year. He jumped too early, stopped running. And Will Shepard drops what would surely have been not only explosive play, but a chance to keep running. He bounces his head off the goalpost. He comes up with that catch.
One of the better pass catchers in the SEC, leads the conference in touchdowns. It's so good with the 50-50 balls. A-Ball had a 51-yard punt from his own end zone the first time. And facing pressure, he hits a line drive that McConkey will field at his own 38. And Ladd somehow squeezes through the middle down to the 42-yard line. Let's get another studio update from Darian Oka.
Yeah, TZ, after Bama gave up a first quarter touchdown for the first time this season. Well, they got the football back, 2nd and 19. You wonder how's Bryce Young's right shoulder. Looks pretty darn good there. What a strike to Isaiah Bond. 2 plays later, Jahmyr Gibbs going to put on a little stutter step, bounce out to the left, and score from 8 yards. It's 7-7, but Tennessee has just scored, so it's 13-7 Vols, guys.
Don't blink, huh?
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you.
The deep ball from Hendon Hooker for a touchdown to get Tennessee back on top. Keeping our eye on that one and what's happening with the Braves and Phillies. Braves need some runs right now. Stetson Bennett wants another touchdown right now. Looks down the field, throws a bullet to Rosemy-Jacksaint in traffic for a first down to the 23.
Looked like he wanted Ladd McConkey, but they had Jalen Mahoney over top. A good job of finding an option over the middle.
22-yard pickup as Georgia goes quick. Now it's McConkey. And Ladd gets down to the 19-yard line where Orji makes the tackle. The deep ball for Stetson Bennett has been one thing that has been missing from this offense since that A.D. Mitchell injury stench. And Stetson talked to us yesterday about that, trying to find that timing with another receiver that he already has with Mitchell. Maybe Rosemy-Jacksaint emerges as that guy.
No, there's no question. A couple targets for Rosemy-Jacksaint already in this game. Didn't look like he was the initial option, but he certainly emerged on a couple of passing plays.
2nd and call it 4, and that's a back shoulder ball. Somehow Bowers made that catch. Perfectly thrown by Stetson.
I don't know how that ball got to Bowers, because DeRicky Wright, who's already got 3 interceptions on the year, is underneath this pass. Watch number 43. He's actually turned around just enough. And as you mentioned, that's a perfectly placed ball. Just upfield enough for his man to make the catch.
1st and goal. McIntosh takes it straight up the gut, and another touchdown for Kenny. 1 receiving and now 1 rushing.
Pull the backside guard and tackle.
Georgia is now wearing number 44.
Huge hole, strong finish. Big Warren McClendon with the pancake breakfast. Do it every month. These guys are big and physical. They've been playing with more of an edge of late.
Podlesny makes it 14-0 with 1:40 to go in the first quarter. More football action in 10 seconds. Stetson Bennett off to a hot start today, 9 of 10 passing and a touchdown. And Kenny McIntosh has both of the scores. He's the team's leading receiver, and he would like to once again be the team's leading ground gainer. He's behind Edwards and Milton in that category, but ran hard on that play.
Yeah, I tell you, that was what was impressive more than anything else. They were talking about, he had to cut back early in the game, first play of the game last week. Missed opportunity. That time, just stuck his nose right in the middle of the line of scrimmage, really well blocked up front. Can't help but emphasize it. This is a Vanderbilt defense that bottled up Ole Miss's rushing attack, and a prolific one at that just a week ago. So far, it's been well blocked on the ground.
Clark Lee said we're going to take it at the 25 all day, and McGowan calls for another fair catch. Let's go down to the field and Alyssa.
You guys heard Kirby Smart at the beginning of this game talk about wanting to see his team come out with intensity. Well, when it comes to this dog defense, there was a large emphasis this week on creating turnovers. Now, they obviously emphasize that every week, but linebacker Nolan Smith told me they did a turnover circuit this week. Spent a little bit of extra time trying to take advantage of what they call habitual violators, guys who often have the ball, maybe don't have great ball control or ball security, getting those punch outs, those pulls. They said that makes this Georgia defense tick. They haven't gotten enough in the last 2 to 3 weeks, so this Georgia defense, guys, pretty hungry to force the ball out today.
They've been great so far getting off of the field. There's a ball forced to Shepard, but a flag comes in.
Penalty flag is thrown. The pass is incomplete.
It was Keely Ringo on Shepard.
Ringo with the coverage and the flag.
It's Ringo that was in the coverage when Shepard had the drop.
Pass interference. Defense number 5. Ball's at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Let's go back to the studio. Dari Noka, how's the weather in Oxford, Mississippi?
TZ, it is cleared up a little bit. Teams are on the field, about to resume. Just over 6 minutes to go. Ole Miss up 2 scores on Auburn. It's over on ESPN News. Guys?
All right, thank you for that, my friend. He'll keep us updated on Tennessee, Alabama, Phillies and Braves, and everything else that's going on. I believe we have a timeout here that's been called by Vanderbilt with 1:36 to go in the first quarter. It feels like the biggest Saturday yet, Stitch, with all these college football games with top 25 teams playing each other, and it won't end now. In fact, it keeps going after we're done. Number 16.
29-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for Vanderbilt at that spot.
Number 16 Mississippi State versus number 22 Kentucky in Lexington. State has a current 3-game win streak. They're 5-1 on the season. It's SEC Saturday night presented by T-Mobile. It's also available on the ESPN app. We'll see if Will Levis is healthy enough to beat Will Rogers and the Bulldogs. You got Bama, Tennessee right now, TCU, Oklahoma State, Penn State, Michigan, USC, Utah. I mean, it's just filled with great college football today.
Across the country. I mean, you've got some teams that are contending potentially for playoff spots, locking horns all across the college football landscape.
Swan on 1st and 10 turns and hands to Patrick Smith. And Smith won't get much as Ryan Davis makes the tackle. We were talking about that game tonight. Rogers is thrown for more completions than anybody ever in SEC history. And I don't feel like enough people know that.
Well, and he's done it in short order. And in fact, it was Aaron Murray, the former quarterback here at Georgia's record, who he eclipsed in this past ball game. And he did it 3 seasons. It's pretty remarkable.
Part of the reason why is because Mike Leach almost never runs the football.
That's also a fair observation.
That air raid offense. Ray Davis comes back in on 2nd and 10. Davis pitches it back. And it is McGowan that gets past the 35-yard line, and they make it the 34-yard line, and they make something out of nothing on that play. McGowan can run it, not only catch it.
I mean, they're really lucky that Warren Brinson didn't take this handoff. Either one of 2 potential handoffs. Got upfield rather quickly. Did you see how shifty McGowan really is? Get the ball to him, because that should have been a negative yardage play. He was able to actually pick up positive yards amongst a bunch of Georgia defenders.
Swan off his back foot, and he's lucky that didn't get picked by Ringo. It's 4th down, Alyssa.
You guys were talking about Vandy wide receiver Jaden McGowan, one of those freshmen that they're really excited to see contribute over the next couple of seasons. Will Shepard said it was so impressive to see the way he's quickly adjusted to college football, especially in the SEC. Guys, he was a 2-sport athlete in high school. He lettered in track and field and was the fastest athlete in South Carolina. Casual.
He has emerged as one of the best players for Vanderbilt on their offense, but so far, 3 drives resulting in 3 punts here in the first quarter. Here's Hayball to punt it again to McConkey. It's another absolute cannon. It takes McConkey inside his 10, and he's forced out of bounds shy of the 20. It's a 57-yard punt for one of the best in America.
1st and 10 for the Dogs.
And that
That's
is
the end of the first quarter.
the first quarter, as you hear there. Georgia, #1 in the country, looking good on homecoming. They're up 14-0. Everybody enjoying themselves in Athens today as the Dogs try to stay on top of all of college football. Up 14-0 after the end of the first quarter. Last 3 weeks they've struggled in that first frame, not today, against Vanderbilt. Here they have the football first to start the second, and Dejon Edwards gets free for a 1st down run.
I think, look at Vanderbilt offensively. They spend a lot of time with 2 tight ends. Georgia practically lives with 2 tight ends on the football field, as you see Darnell Washington now subbing out. But it's Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington almost all the time. That time they exploded the formation out. 2 wide receivers up to the top, 2 to the bottom. 2 of those were tight ends. Lightens up the box, evens up the numbers for run blocking.
Branson Robinson comes in as Edwards goes out, and Branson makes a Commodore miss and gets over to the 34-yard line where Mahoney will make the tackle.
You talk about these tight ends and how they're utilized, so watch them here. This Bowers coming all the way across, and he's the second puller. Seals the edge and look downfield. Who is that? It's Darnell Washington cleaning things up for Robinson downfield. They utilize these guys all the time in the run game. As good pass catchers as they are, they're weapons as rushers as well.
On a 2nd down pass, it's a 1st down completion to Dylan Bell. And he gets up near midfield to the 44, an 8-yard completion to that true freshman from Houston who's emerged in the last few weeks as one of Bennett's targets.
And has needed to. A guy that we talk about A.D. Mitchell's absence, guys are going to have to step up. Dylan Bell is one of those new faces. We're very high on him. He's done an excellent job understanding his assignments with some of these perimeter runs as well.
It was Edwards on the first play. Robinson came in, and now it's McIntosh. It's play action. And Bennett dumps it off to Kinney. Staying on his feet past midfield. And he gets about 8 more where Orji makes the tackle.
Bennett's pass is complete to Kenny
McIntosh, just such an excellent receiver. You see that, as you mentioned, to check it down, get it to him in space, make some guys miss. Great job of making that first would-be tackler miss, picking up positive yards, another 3 or 4 yards after Maxwell Worship came up. It's 10 straight completions for Stetson Bennett now.
He is feeling it. 11 in a row as McConkey makes the grab. Another 1st down.
Pass is complete to McConkey.
As they work their way into Vanderbilt territory, and your old friend Mike Bobo's about to be passed in a few minutes on that all-time completion mark in Georgia football history.
See Bennett working on this fake there initially, gets it out to one of his favorite targets, and Lad McConkey. Mentioned that record to Bobo in pregame. He didn't seem too upset that it might get eclipsed.
He just immediately started ripping you, of course.
Yeah, didn't have enough protection. He would have had more completions or something.
Your old buddy. Dejon Edwards comes in. Bennett fakes it to him, throws off the back foot. He's got a wide open receiver, and it's caught inside the 20 by Dominic Blaylock. Fielded that like a punt.
The ball kind of hung up, and it had to. Stetson Bennett had to adjust. Pate Ratledge comes over. They run heavy play action, and Georgia lucky they don't get a holding call. Looked like he tugged Elijah McAllister pretty obviously. Stetson Bennett kept it alive and had enough on that football. That was mostly arm strength to get it downfield.
25-yard completion to the junior from Marietta. Dogs are back in the red zone again. Edwards doesn't really have anywhere to go and gets ahead to the 15-yard line. Still made something out of nothing. That's the thing they love about Edwards, is he finds another yard where there isn't one.
That's right. Yeah, it was funny. Todd Monken talked about it because Ethan Barr from Vanderbilt did a good job. He forced Edwards to go wider than he wanted to. He emerged in the hole, but Edwards just slides off tacklers, is what Monken was saying, and he's right. You rarely get a clean shot on number 30. Almost always picks up yards after contact.
Try it again, and Dejon bangs down near the 11 where B.J. Anderson makes the tackle. It'll be third down.
This is carnage. This is like a 5-car pileup. You're handing it off, sweeping it into the boundary. You're pulling an offensive lineman up there. It's just bodies, tons of bodies. Who knows if there's ever going to be any room.
Third down, 4 to go.
Edwards seems to always wiggle his way upfield.
Edwards goes out. McIntosh comes back in on a 3rd and 4. Kenny has no place to go. Somehow escapes the pressure and gets inside the 10, but looks like he might be half a yard shy.
A great run by Kenny McIntosh because he got no help up front. Look at this, you got a free runner right there. You just come off. That's confusion at left guard and center. And Devin Lee just basically unblocked, and Georgia said, look, we'll challenge those guys up front. This is a challenge to an offensive line, 4th and short. They're going to say, hey, you pick up a yard.
Vanderbilt is barely set. Well, mass substitutions. Georgia 5 for 5 on 4th. It's Dejon Edwards, 1st and goal, Georgia, but a flag does come in at the end of the play.
There's a flag on the play.
Illegal substitution, defense. More than 11 players on the field. Penalties half the distance to the goal. Results in a first down.
Well, you mentioned it, Taylor. A little bit of confusion there. The mass substitution, trying to get the big bodies in there. Georgia going for it on 4th down. And seemingly caught Vanderbilt a little bit on their heels from a personnel standpoint. Cost them the penalty there, giving Georgia a 1st and goal.
Georgia offensive coordinator Todd Monken told us yesterday that he wanted his offense's identity to be one of toughness. We have seen that on display so far today.
I think that's what he's doing. You know, a lot of it's been, he ended up on that previous snap, just looking at it again, looked like Vanderbilt had 13 on the field. Georgia still able to convert. It's kind of impressive for all the wrong reasons.
Edwards stays upright until he gets to the 1.
Edwards carries.
Malik Langham kept him out of the end zone.
Again, Edwards having to throw moves right as he approaches the line of scrimmage. Is Georgia quick over the ball?
See if they try it again. They do. And it's a touchdown.
Dejon Edwards, 4-6. Touchdown, Georgia.
Number 96 for Georgia's now wearing 44.
See Edwards, nice patience. We didn't get over that goal line by much, it didn't look like in that second look. Regardless, just enough to get upfield. And Georgia finding the end zone now for the 3rd time here in the first half.
11-play, 81-yard drive. Ground and pound against Vanderbilt there. And already up 20-0 as Podlesny makes it 21-0 with 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. The 100th homecoming game in Athens, a good one so far for Georgia. For Matt Stinchcomb, I'm Taylor Zarzer. I went to 5 and 10. What a great restaurant last night. Over 100 years that house has been there. They just turned it into a restaurant a few years ago. We had some incredible oysters, pasta bolognese, smoked duck breast, cornmeal fried catfish, collard greens, cast iron cornbread. Look at these desserts. Lemon cheesecake and semifreddo. Man, General Manager Hank, server Wyatt, they took care of us last night at 5 and 10. I cannot recommend that place enough. Matt had to get ready for Janie Stinchcomb to win some more volleyball games, so we gladly took over last night at 5 and 10. That kick goes out of bounds, and Vanderbilt will get good field position. Let's go to Dari Noka in the studio.
Yeah, feel terrible for you, Taylor, having to fill in for Stinch on that rough assignment. All right, let's update a couple of games. Rocket Sanders into the end zone, matching BYU 7-7, but the Cougars have since scored again, and actually, Arkansas just took a 1-point lead. Tennessee is the first team in a decade to score a touchdown on their first 3 possessions against Alabama. 21-7 balls. We're not out of the first, guys.
You know, Stinch, I think just about everybody thought that this would be Alabama's toughest test, and Tennessee up 2 touchdowns, not even at the end of the first quarter.
How about Hendon Hooker off to a scorching start. 6 of 7, 97 yards already. That guy is unconscious so far this season.
See if Vanderbilt can get going on offense. A.J. Swan dumps it off to Davis, and he gets free into Georgia territory.
It's an underappreciated element of Ray Davis's game, probably by most fans, certainly not by the coaching staff at Vanderbilt. Really good receiver. Fake it downhill to Patrick Smith and just dump it out to Ray Davis. Let him do the rest. Pick up a block out there on the edge. Get downfield quickly. It's a good way to get a ball to a playmaker in space.
18th catch of the year, and it goes for 18 yards. Just a reminder, Vanderbilt only has 2 running backs here in Athens. Patrick Smith has come in to spell Davis, and that's it. Swan, deep ball, and he misses a wide open Jaden McGowan.
Pass is incomplete.
That's 2 shots that Vanderbilt has missed on downfield, and both receivers were open. So you got McGowan, and it's really Beal that's in coverage right there. Certainly not an ideal matchup for Vanderbilt. It's the perfect matchup, and Swan just overshoots his target. Will Shepard with the drop, and now McGowan just 2 steps shy of an A.J. Swan downfield pass.
2nd and 10, it's Davis, and he plows Ed to the 45. Stinch, Rocco Griffin left the team. Stopped playing for Vanderbilt, goes into the transfer portal this week, so it's just Davis and Smith that are here available in Vanderbilt's backfield.
Yeah, and there really hasn't been an opportunity for Mike Wright to get in there. As you mentioned last week, a short yard scenario, red zone possession. Vanderbilt just trying to get something working. That pass to Ray Davis, kind of sparking this possession. Huge misfire and an opportunity here to try to get their first 3rd down.
And both of them are on the field on this play on 3rd and 8, Davis and Smith. Swan has time, loads up, and it's caught by Will Shepard inside the 25-yard line. He is so good when he goes up for the football.
Patrick Smith in there, great in protection, was key to that downfield throw, and we talked about Shepard. The guy is so dangerous. Great pickup on Ryan Davis. That's textbook. Great job. Gives him just enough time, and Will Shepard, that ball was placed right where it needs to be. 50-50 ball, hard to contest.
Kirby Smart said he's as good as it gets on those. Christopher Smith was all over him. Just a great catch for 22 yards. And here is Mike Wright into the game. And Wright doesn't get much as Swan goes off the field and Wright comes in.
We talked about the situational opportunity. So Vanderbilt gets that big conversion on 3rd down, and Mike Wright comes in. danger that he brings. Always can take off, hand it off, right back off the field, but it's a changeup, something that the defense has to be aware of.
Swan back in on 2nd and 10. It's Davis. Actually, a fake to Davis. It went to McGowan. He lost the ball, and Georgia picked it up. It has been whistled dead at the 15.
McGowan on the carry.
You mentioned it, though. Great ball fake in the backfield.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Georgia.
See if this ball comes out before McGowan goes down. It certainly looked like the ball was already laying on the turf. Yeah.
No question.
Tyke Smith coming in there. That ball pops right out. The ball handling, this ball fake was outstanding.
With the recovery from the Dogs.
Christopher Smith there first. Stands up McGowan, and then Tyke Smith comes in and just hatchets it out. That ball's definitely out.
Vanderbilt's been very good at managing turnovers, not getting in their own way, but they commit one there. And 3 big penalties early in the game. And Georgia's offense is humming. Not the recipe you want if you're Clark Lee. His Dogs are back on offense, and Bennett finds a wide open Darnell Washington. Look at Darnell Washington roll down the sideline. Big O is near midfield. 34 yards for the 6'7", 270-pound behemoth.
Is Georgia playing with a youth-sized football? Watch Darnell Washington just go up and just stab this ball. Doesn't even bother with his left hand. Never even had to secure it with his left hand. Just reached up and palmed that thing. That's the 4th play of 20 or more yards for the Georgia offense.
Either it's a youth football or he's bigger than all the other players.
Could be that.
Bennett has a menu of options with plenty of time. He'll be flushed out, keep it himself, and run into Vanderbilt territory down near the 45-yard line. His legs are underrated. You mentioned last week he turned on the Jets against Auburn.
A smart play, right? So look, you fake like you're going to spit it out there to McIntosh. The idea is to see if you could get that secondary to trigger upfield. Didn't like what he had downfield, so just had McIntosh turn into a lead blocker. Positive play, smart play. You don't like what you have downfield, don't put the ball in jeopardy, especially when your offense is clicking in plus territory.
Dejon Edwards comes back in next to Bennett. And here he is, plowing forward to the 43-yard line. It'll be 3rd down.
Nice play by Jalen Mahoney, one of the leaders of this Vanderbilt defense. He got upfield in that backfield and around the legs of Dejon Edwards, as you see Georgia with some urgency here.
Bennett, another completion to McConkey. McConkey's free, and he's tripped up inside the 25 by Jalen Mahoney.
The ball came out so quickly. At first I thought it was a high pass to Brock Bowers. It's right on the money to Lad McConkey. Quick play fake. Not even sure that Stetson Bennett has time to get the laces on these throws. He catches it. He's on a play fake almost immediately, and McConkey able to pick up significant yards after the catch.
21 more. The sophomore. Bennett pumps, throws, end zone, over Bowers' head. Incomplete.
Try it again. Quick little fake to the flat. He comes back thinking he can get Bowers so many times. You've seen, you just hang that ball up, let Bowers go up and climb the ladder. We talk about Will Shepard. Brock Bowers also excellent, being able to go up and high point footballs.
He had completed 14 in a row before that last play. Now he takes off again. And he's down to the 16.
Around left end.
Almost bounced off of Uga's doghouse down there.
Out of bounds.
One of the most
just inside
palatial
the
places you can
16.
find here in the stadium.
Third down for the Dogs.
There it is. See Charles Seiler down there, takes care of Uga, making sure that he's ready to stiff arm Stetson Bennett. It looked like if he had to. Uga didn't even wake up. You know, if you picked up a touchdown, maybe I'll open my eyeballs, but that was just a second down run.
It was 45 degrees. It was cold this morning. Now it's 82. Warmed up in a hurry for him and everybody else.
Probably had to turn on the air conditioning they got in that thing.
You sound jealous. McIntosh stands next to Bennett. Stetson, plenty of time. And another catch made by Bell. Down to the 10.
Able to kind of fight his way through traffic. See Bennett throwing his hands up a little bit, maybe a little bit frustrated with the red zone opportunities. You see Harry's over there messing with the real version of himself. Doghouse in the background. Big Darnell Washington at the top of your screen, attached to the left side of the offensive line.
They'll run it, and it's Robinson down to the 6.
Dejon Edwards.
Kirby Smart, wide receiver coach Brian McClendon.
On the carry.
You mentioned it earlier, it's the red zone efficiency, where that's been some areas of difficulty, especially here at home for Georgia.
Second down.
They'd be more efficient on a short field.
Perfect 3 of 3 so far today, trying to make it 4 of 4. And it is going to be a loss of 3 as Bowers was sniffed out by Elijah McAllister. We believe that's a pass, though. It threw it forward, right?
Which he did look like he tapped it.
Yeah. And that means he's past Mike Bobo, Stinch's old quarterback, for 7th all-time in career completions. And Mike said, I'm good with that. I'm good because I would have had more if I had protection up front from Stinchcomb Brothers. Of course, he had any opportunity to knock you guys, he'll do it.
Notice he waited till Jonas Jennings walked off before he said that. He also was on that offensive front.
He sure did. 3rd and goal. Somewhere John Stinchcomb is sending a text to Bobo as we speak. Bennett, good ball, and it's another touchdown pass, this time to Dominic Blaylock.
Number 96 for Georgia is now wearing 44.
Don Blaylock fighting his way back from injury. Some targets last week. Great shot from the pylon cam. That ball placement. Nice concentration by Blaylock. Georgia finds themselves in the end zone for the 4th time today. And red zone efficiency spiking this afternoon.
You mentioned it. A few years ago, he had 5 touchdown catches in 2019. It's the first one for him in 3 years. 28-0 Dogs. It's 82nd meeting between Georgia and Vanderbilt. It's been all Dogs. So far, 28-0. Look at what they've done in the first half to their opponents all season. Kirby Smart knows the schedule's about to get a lot tougher, Stench, which is why he has been pleading with his team to play to its own standard.
Well, that's the challenge, right? He said, look, some of these weeks, some of our best, most contested reps have been in practice. You know, knowing what they're going to face on Saturdays, you have to wonder sometimes, are they peaking during the week with some of their preparation and intensity?
Vanderbilt will get it at the 25-yard line with 1:06 to go in the first half, trying to find something on offense.
Welcome in. Auto Owners Insurance halftime report coming right up. I've got the guys with me here. We're going to show you Alabama, Tennessee. It's 28-10 Volunteers right now. They just scored again. What do you think here from Georgia?
I think Stetson heard all the criticism about not throwing touchdowns the last 3 games. Defense pitching a shutout. What else do you want?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter as long as he's productive.
Bad news, Georgia fans, Braves down 7-3.
Tell you what, folks, we got a couple of the best teams in the country that both have 28 points at home. Georgia here, Tennessee and Knoxville both with big leads on longtime rivals. This one swung out to Patrick Smith, and Smith will lose yardage on the play as Keely Ringo is in the backfield. Coming up at halftime, you can watch the Georgia Redcoat Marching Band streaming live on ESPN Plus, also on the SEC Plus app. Beautiful day to watch them play at homecoming. Stitch, I think people aren't shocked to see this score that we're watching here, but Bama down 28-10 to Tennessee currently.
Special teams gaffes versus an offense that is explosive as Tennessee is and continues to be.
Warren Brinson, the junior from Savannah, in the backfield.
He's been in the backfield quite a bit today.
Timeout. Georgia, the first of the half.
Timeout, Georgia.
Georgia trying to hang on to some clock before we get to half.
We'll take a timeout with them. 55 seconds left in the second quarter. All dogs so far. Been a clinic so far for the #1 team in college football. Some may say, well, come on, we saw this score materialize last year. Vanderbilt has been significantly more competitive throughout the majority of their games. Already won more games than they won last year. The Dogs are firing on all cylinders. 3rd and 12 for Vanderbilt. And it's an underneath pass that's caught by Shepard, breaks tackles, and gets the first down. 20-yard pickup.
Pass is complete to number 14, Will Shepard.
We talked about Shepard with the drop earlier this half. Big completion there. Georgia took the timeout expecting to get the ball back.
And a quick ball this time goes to Quincy Skinner into Georgia territory. Another first down, or at least right at it is where it's marked.
Pass is complete to number 3, Quincy Skinner.
Timeout, Vanderbilt, the first of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 32 seconds. 3-2.
Now, of course, the clock emphasis flips, right? So you get that conversion, you're at midfield. Georgia calling timeouts on a 3rd down, trying to preserve clock, get the ball back. Instead, Vanderbilt gets the explosive. Now they've got an opportunity, scoring opportunity right before half. And you think about last week, the way Vanderbilt played for the first 2 quarters versus Ole Miss, leading the Rebels, top 10 team. Team that picked up another victory, will today, over Auburn. Well, that one was an up and down game. And Vandy did not finish the half well. Gave up a score right before halftime. And Clark Lee, you know, he's standing over there at the sideline. He's wanting to get a positive possession in. 32 seconds to play with 2 timeouts.
And they get the ball first in the second half.
He's got an opportunity to flip it. Last week didn't finish the second, didn't start the third well. Opportunity to do so here.
The referee
we're not going to be playing.
Is over Steve Marlowe talking to Clark Lee, so we got a moment here. I think he wanted more time on the clock. You said it about Clark Lee. He said his team panicked last week.
The auxiliary down box was set 2nd down. Vanderbilt called a timeout for that reason. He will give Vanderbilt their timeout back. They will have 3 for the remaining of the half.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. It makes sense. You understand like why they get it back, but I don't know that I've ever seen a timeout reinstated because
and the clock stopped either
the
way.
Wrong down was shown on the dial-a-down. So now 3 timeouts and 32 seconds left on Georgia's side of the field. Back to what you were saying earlier, Stinch. The last week, Vanderbilt's team panicked after that turnover against Ole Miss. They gave up 28 consecutive points after leading the game 20-17. And again, it's Shepard. Gets down to the 43-yard line, and where Everett makes the tackle, and now Vanderbilt will use their first timeout. That's what you were talking about last week, Stitch.
Vanderbilt. This will be their first of the half, 30-second timeout.
Yeah, see how Ole Miss really kind of stymied most of that first half, only 17 points, but 7 of those they popped up right before the half ended, and then they picked up another touchdown to open their possession there in the third quarter, kind of broke the game open. That was the real challenge more than anything else. It was the third quarter blitz that the Rebels were able to put on Vanderbilt that changed the complexion of that football game.
.23 seconds left in the half. Vanderbilt needs another first down to get into Joe Bulovis' field goal range. Get some points out of this half, and again, they get it first in the second frame. Mississippi State and Kentucky after us tonight. It's 7:30 Eastern in Lexington. Swan drifts back again, trying to get it down to Shepard. Incomplete. Everett was all over Shepard there, and it's 3rd and 5.
True freshman going after him a couple of times there. In there guarding one of the best wide receivers in the conference.
Swan dumps it off. It's Smith. He stays upright, gets the first down, and gets out of bounds with 10 seconds left, and a flag comes in at the end of the play.
Christopher Smith with the stop for the Dogs.
Great job by Smith breaking that tackle of Jamin Dumas-Johnson out in the open field.
After the play, dead ball, personal foul, get out of bounds. 13 defense, 15-yard penalty is an automatic first down.
It's Michael Williams who got the call. You see Dumas-Johnson can't come up with a tackle in open space. And wow. Earlier we saw not an exceptionally violent. You see Michael Williams is like, look, I pulled up. There was not much to that hit, that's for sure. But we saw a call against Vanderbilt in the first quarter was similar.
Been perfect in the red zone, scoring points. Just 10 seconds left, though, for Swan. He pumps and he throws it to the bench. Nolan Smith got the hit.
Really the first time that Georgia's been close to Swan. Swan lucky to get that ball off.
There was 2 seconds left on the clock when the ball went out of bounds. The flag comes in, and they're calling intentional grounding because it didn't get to the line of scrimmage.
Just about to say, I'm not sure that ball made it back. He was in the pocket under duress.
Intentional grounding off this number 13. Penalties to loss of down at the spot of the foul. It'll be second down. Penalty also carries a 10-second runoff. Vanderbilt will use a timeout to avoid a 10-second runoff. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Okay, so there is time left in the half because...
Please reset the game clock to 4 seconds.
There you go. So 4 seconds left in the half for Bulovis.
Correction, 7 seconds. 7 seconds.
No question that ball doesn't make it past the line of scrimmage. You see Nolan Smith getting to A.J. Swan. The penalty backs you up, and they buy their way back with some time. Bulovis to take a shot at the uprights.
I wondered with 7 seconds instead of 4, if Vanderbilt has a timeout, maybe they would try to get a few more yards, but no, Bulovis is out there to attempt the field goal. Be about a 44-yard try here for Bolivis, who's been perfect. The Alabama transfer, 5 for 5 kicking field goals on the season. Wesley Schelling will snap it, and Matthew Hayball will hold it.
Timeout, Georgia, second of the half. 30-second timeout.
Kirby Smart coaching every single opportunity he has with this team. Where the win today would improve to 7-0, but we were talking about it, Stinch, really throughout the week. The schedule is about to get significantly more challenging after this open week.
Come back with Florida, and on the edge of that one, it's Tennessee. Now you get Tennessee at home. And that's a team that is more than up on their skis. They're rocking and rolling, especially offensively. And on the heels of that, of course, they pick up Mississippi State out of the SEC West. That's on the road. And we all know those cowbells, they know when to ring them. And after a while, it takes a toll. Mississippi State's running the football this year to complement what is a prolific passing game.
Tennessee still marching against Alabama, up 11 there. This is to get Vanderbilt on the board. From 44 yards, and Bolivis hooked it. No good.
See Clark Lee as he looks on, penalty looms large. A promising drive to end the half. It ends up empty once again.
Still 3 seconds left on the clock. Bolivis with his first miss of the season.
You see him, you mentioned it, Taylor. The opportunity maybe to advance it, call a quick timeout, get your field goal unit out there on. Instead, Bolivis misses it, not by much. Just pulled it left.
Stetson Bennett, sensational in the first half, 18 of 20 passing for 211 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenny McIntosh, a touchdown catch and a touchdown run. Marcus Rosemy Jack Saint with 2 big catches for the Dogs in the first half. And the defense pitches the shutout against a significantly improved offense. And here's Alyssa with Coach Smart.
Coach, what was the emphasis to your defense on that last Vanderbilt drive?
Well, the emphasis was to get the ball back for the offense, and we had 3rd and 6 or 7, and we missed a tackle. You can't be a good football team if you miss easy tackles.
Stetson with over 200 yards passing so far. What'd you make of the offensive start?
Well, we started faster. We still had 1 wasted drive in there. We got to convert, but they've done some good things.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Kirby Smart always looking for better performances from his Dogs. That's what has to happen if you want to win another national championship. It's halftime. To the studio with Dari. College Football Saturday in the SEC is presented by Allstate. The Dogs, ranked number 1 in the land, lead the Doors 28-0 at halftime. He's Matt Stinchcomb. I'm Taylor Zarzer. Alyssa Lang's down there. You know us. We've been here a lot. And since we've seen so much of the Dogs so far this season, I think it's fair to say that might be the most complete half of football we've seen yet.
Yeah, certainly since maybe the opener versus Oregon, and certainly here at home in Sanford Stadium for Georgia, the way they opened up, and largely with Stetson Bennett settling back in. You know, a lot of the horizontal passing game, this is familiar from the opening of the season as well with Kenny McIntosh, but Rosemy Jack Saint getting a target. Of course, Brock Bowers involved as well. Really, really efficient first half. Stetson Bennett made a couple plays with his legs as well, bought some time. And then, of course, other guys emerging. Dominic Blaylock returning well from injury. Finds his way into the end zone as well in the passing game for Georgia.
They were terrific, and their defense pitches the shutout in the first half. Let's go down to Alyssa.
Yeah, guys, I just caught up with Vanderbilt head coach Clark Lee, and I asked him how they generate some more offense in the second half of this football game. He said, well, it's more about making the available play. He referenced Will Shepherd behind in coverage. Some of those drop passes that we saw in the first half, saying that against a team like Georgia, if you don't make the plays that are available to you, yeah, it turns into a 4-score lead at the break. I will say the energy coming out of the Vander locker room, guys, still very high. They still have that competitive edge, and they want to be here in this game till the end.
Good to hear that. Third straight week they've played a top 10 opponent. That's never happened in the history of Vanderbilt football before this week. Number 2 Alabama 2 games ago. Number 9 Ole Miss last week. A.J. Swan slings it deep. Incomplete. Kamarian Carter, the intended target. Keely Ringo in coverage. Let's take a look at our first half stats, brought to you by Bear. Vanderbilt did almost nothing, Stinch, for that last drive that resulted in a missed field goal.
And 99 yards of their 105 total yards were on the last 2 drives of the first half. It's the 4 rushing yards that's really stymied the Vanderbilt offense. They were able to establish the run really well last week versus Ole Miss. Has not gotten untracked this afternoon versus the Georgia defense.
See if Swan can get something going on this drive. It's a 2nd and 10. Another incompletion as Davis couldn't get his left hand on it. And quickly, it's 3rd and 10.
Look at the run, no room up front. Then, of course, Ray Davis, and we talked about it. Excellent receiver that time. Maybe felt Christopher Smith bearing down on him. These 3rd and longs, they have not been able very often this afternoon to get ahead in the down and distance, to get to 3rd manageable.
Swan, and he miscommunicates with Will Shepherd. It's an incompletion. 16 seconds and a quick 3 and out.
Yeah, you can see Shepherd stemmed his route. Keely Ringo was in coverage, had a bunch to the left. Shepherd ended up coming back. Swan was expecting him to extend downfield. Just 2 different pages. It's not been a great afternoon so far for that Swan-Shepherd connection.
Matthew Hayball punting for the 4th time. And McConkey can field this one at the 33 on the line drive. Ladd, so good with the yards after the catch, but there's a flag down.
Returns inside Commodore territory, but check the flag.
And Kirby Smart's out past the numbers, coaching up Keely Ringo on punt return.
During the return, blocking the back, receiving team number 5. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
That guy had one of the biggest plays in the history of Georgia football, the pick 6 in the national championship. Still coaching him up.
Yep, just such an easy call. You see it right there as McConkey was making it. What Coach Smart's saying is that, look, this guy's not going to be able to make this play more than likely. He's full speed, almost even with Ladd McConkey. Just don't mess with him. Don't touch him. Let his momentum take him out of the play. You go to practices at Georgia, Kirby Smart is maybe his most engaged during special teams periods.
As animated as ever, that's for sure.
Yes.
Stetson Bennett was sensational in that first half. He hands it to Kenny McIntosh, who had a touchdown receiving and rushing. And he gets up to the 30 for 7 yards. Bennett, 18 of 20 for 211 yards and 2 touchdowns in that first half.
Yeah, I mean, just a picture of efficiency. Past couple of weeks, you know, a couple of balls get away from him. Balls bouncing off a receiver's hand or 2. It just couldn't get in sync. He got going early in this game. 7 different wide receivers. He's completed 14 straight pass attempts.
On 2nd and 3, Good job of avoiding the pressure by McIntosh. He gets the first down, Alyssa.
You guys were talking about how intense these Georgia practices are. Well, I talked to Kenny McIntosh earlier in the week, and he talked about some of the younger guys after that Week 1 win against Oregon. He said that they were all out there saying, yeah, they don't want to be out there with us. They weren't ready for us. And I told them that it goes back to everything that we've been doing during practice, during camp, coaches getting you prepared. He said now that we're in Week 7 and the guys can see that coming to fruition, they're buying in even more.
Stetson was talking about that too, as this ball is deflected. Good job by C.J. Taylor getting his hand in the way. So he was looking for McConkey. And Stetson said, we need to not react to the coaches trying to coach us up in practice. We need to react to our own standard each week.
No question. And he talked about the urgency that they had. C.J. Taylor, great job getting a hand on this football. So after that throw, Stetson Bennett working on that right arm, still is. Earlier they were talking about, he kind of fell on that shoulder. Still trying to get that thing loose.
On 2nd and 10, it's Edwards. And Dejon has a first down run, and he gets free down near the 45 where Mahoney trips him up. It's a gain of 20.
A great burst. Dejon Edwards, you never get a clean shot at him. They duck up inside, runs through a tackle. Actually, a nice play by Mahoney to get around his ankles and get him on the ground. Dejon Edwards, really difficult back. He runs much bigger than his 5'10", 200-pound frame.
Bennett down the field to McConkey, and that's inside the 30. And Ladd is banged up.
Credit right with the stop.
Boy, that's the last thing you want to see.
See the concern on Stetson Bennett's face.
Ryan McConkey is the injured Georgia player.
We talked about the familiar faces in the passing game at wide receiver. A.D. Mitchell still not returned. Got only a few snaps last week versus Auburn, and now Ladd McConkey is it seems to be working on his lower left leg.
He has been phenomenal in his 2 years as a Georgia receiver. Walks to the bench. We'll take a timeout.
Ladd McConkey is in that tent right now on the Georgia sidelines. They're taking a look at him after that big reception down the sideline. And watch as he comes down on his left foot. See, almost favored it almost immediately.
He's okay. It'd be a big loss. He's one of the team's leading receivers. Branson Robinson gets the carry, and the true freshman gets down inside the 23-yard line.
We'll look at that catch. McConkey got a little turned around. Does a great job of securing the ball, but you see as he's going down, you can almost tell he's done something. It seemed to be his lower left leg. That was what he seemed to be gesturing towards. Was not limping heavily when he headed into the tent, though.
59 catches in 21 career games. You think about the productivity he's had with Bennett. And with Mitchell out, that's the last thing you want to see. 2nd and 6. It's big Darnell Washington, who suddenly has become much more of a focal point in this offense, and he moves the chains.
That likely will be even further exaggerated. Nice protection once again for Georgia. Of course, it ends up being about, what, 3 Commodores? Victor Ricky Wright coming in there from his safety spot. That's a linebacker-size safety. To try to get all of Darnell Washington's 6'7", 275-pound frame to the ground.
It's 9 catches in the last 4 games for Big O. McIntosh tackled at the 12. Yeah, it sure was. Jalen Mahoney.
That was a heck of a tackle by Jalen Mahoney.
Tackle was made by number 23.
Asking a guy to come up there and make a play. McIntosh got roped up by Mahoney. And Georgia's been excellent in the red zone today. Batting 1,000. Can't say that for the Braves today.
You and everyone else from this state not very happy at the moment about that. That's one of the reasons why this stadium is so quiet, is because I'm sure they've had an eye on that. Philly's just eliminated the Atlanta Braves. 2nd and 7. Rosemy Jack Saint inside the 10 down to the 9.
Really well defended by the Commodores. And Brock Bowers out there trying to block. He held up. Commodores able to get numbers out there to the boundary. Jack Saint trying to get outside. You see there's Mahoney waiting on him along with B.J. Anderson. Well defended by the Doors here in the red zone. Opportunity for Georgia to get a first down still.
Bennett hands to McIntosh. He had never had a chance there. Wrapped up in the backfield.
McIntosh on the carry.
Jeremy Lucien comes up from that cornerback spot. Transfer from UConn, and
4th down.
You're right, Georgia's perfect in the red zone, but those have been touchdowns every time. Stitch, this is going to be a field goal attempt.
44.
Yeah, I just got beat right now at left guard. Got upfield right away and
Jack Leslie into the ball game.
got the negative yardage play.
If he makes this, he once again matches Rodrigo Blankenship, who was one of the people honored before the game. And Podlesny and Rodrigo are the most accurate kickers in Georgia history. I feel like we might have said that before. 31-0, Georgia leads Vanderbilt on homecoming. 31-0 Dogs. In 1959, LSU and Ole Miss were two of the top 3 teams in the country, but neither won the SEC. That was Georgia, led by quarterback Fran Tarkenton, who on the biggest play of the year drew up a play in the dirt versus the Auburn Tigers.
This is the play that can give the Bulldogs the Southeastern Conference title. Bradford Stadium has gone absolutely wild. Francis Tarkenton is cool as ice water, with the clock staring him in the face and seconds running out. Fired in the end zone in the left flat. A beautiful pitch to Herron, who took it over his shoulder in the end zone for the TD. Georgia Bulldogs have won the Southeastern Conference Championship for the first time in 11 years.
How about that first ever SEC title? Told Herron to block on the tackle for 3 seconds, run that corner route to that back left flag. Perfect ball, Dogs on top, 14-13. They go on to win the Orange Bowl against Mizzou. They finished 5th in the nation, and really that was kind of the mark of the beginning of Georgia greatness in college football, which clearly still stands in 2022.
Started with a play drawn in the dirt. Boy, they've come a long way, haven't they?
Field doesn't have any dirt on it now.
No, there's no dirt down there. That thing is pristine. It's a good-looking rug.
You know, you've seen Fran Tarkenton through the years. Another DGD, as they call him here in Athens. Boy, they've been good under Kirby Smart, 32-1 since 2017. A.J. Swan gets it off to Davis, and Davis gets a couple of yards as Georgia continues to pitch this shutout. Davis only has 8 yards rushing in the game. He does have a couple of catches, but he's been bottled up.
They've done an excellent job of the run defense. You know, it's something, as we mentioned, where Vanderbilt was able to get that going versus Ole Miss. A much improved Ole Miss defense, but nothing like what they faced so far from Georgia with their rushing D. It's been excellent.
Second and 8, they hand to Davis. And he gets a few yards up to the 29 where Ringo makes a tackle. It'll be another 3rd down for Vanderbilt. Just 3 of 7 today.
It tells you something when that might have been one of the best runs of the day for Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
After a big shift, they're able to capture the edge. Beal can't quite get Davis down. Keely Ringo, one of the biggest corners that you're going to see. Not very long, but thick. Comes up and runs support to force a 3rd and long here. Will Shepard just off the end of the line.
Thrown at the feet of Justin Ball, 4th down.
all game, it's been 3rd and longs. Prior to that 3rd down attempt, it was north of 12 yards to go on 3rd down. You just can't make a living. You can't really even survive with that scenario.
And with McConkey banged up, Kieris Jackson will go back there.
Hayball in punt formation.
4 punts for Matthew Hayball today, and it's a 50-yard average. This one bounces in front of Jackson and goes into the Vanderbilt bench with 7:35 left. 37-yard punt. Georgia's up 31-0 on Vanderbilt, looking for more as Stetson Bennett will put that helmet on and come on back.
As the Dogs offense is back on the field. You remember that last possession, wide receiver Ladd McConkey injured on that play. Guys, he went into the injury tent, spent about 5 minutes in there, then he came out, jogged a bit back and forth on the sidelines. I didn't notice any kind of limp, looked to be okay. Helmet is back on, he's back up on the sidelines. He looks to me like he wants to go back in there, guys.
How about our favorite reporter? She was in Lexington at like midnight last night, and here she is all over the scene in Athens today. Not sure she's slept much. Doing a great job as always. Branson Robinson gets up to the 39 for 5 more.
Yeah, I looked up and she's doing basketball. I'm like, did you hit the transfer portal? You're like a basketball person now? You got football still to be done. We need you. Thankfully, bounced back out of the portal and is now on the sidelines.
She's the best, and we love touring the Southeastern Conference, the 3 of us. Kevin Maloney and Russ Moore, our statistician, our spotter, is quite the band of family we have roaming all through these places. Bennett, oh, it's deflected. Good play there in the backfield by Mahoney. He's never let up today. Senior from Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Heck of a play. We've mentioned him a couple of times. He's making plays in the backfield. He's making plays downfield. Great job getting right up in this passing lane. Gets his hands up. It's Arian Smith trying to get the ball too.
3rd and 5 for Stetson Bennett. He's been very good on this down. Darnell Washington has become a go-to receiver. It's 1st down, Alyssa.
Well, we've seen Branson Robinson active quite a bit today, and if you were not familiar with him, you became familiar with him a week ago in that big performance against Auburn. I talked to Kenny McIntosh about his breakout performance a week ago. And you know how these Georgia fans all week have been calling him Baby Chubb? Well, Kenny says we've been calling him that. Every single thing that he does reminds us of Chubb. He said it's pretty identical, but we don't call him Baby Chubb. He did add that since the fan base seems to love the baby part, maybe they'll start calling him Baby Chubb instead.
Bennett, uh-oh. Great pressure, Kane Patterson, that Clemson transfer comes untouched for a loss of 8.
Brought down by number 19, Kane Patterson.
A little bit shaken up there to the play.
Yeah, that's Braden Babst. He's been pressed into action. Some injuries on Vanderbilt's defensive front.
Orgy comes in. This is just a Mike Will cross stalk. So you're twisting your 2 inside backers. John Edwards and Cedric Van Pren Granger's on 2 different pages. And I got to tell you, Georgia should be fantastic at picking up that blitz because they made a living on this, did the Georgia defense a season ago. Kobe Dean and whoever he was lined up alongside on the inside constantly running that blitz. That time the Commodore defense gets home as you see Clark Lee and the training staff looking at Babst. So they're working on his left knee.
He's a senior from Washington, D.C. He's going to need some help getting off the field. Well, Clark Lee has said all season, Stinch, that the team has started to become competitive, especially in SEC games. down 31-0 today. Did lose 55-3 to Alabama. But anybody that's watched Vanderbilt play football last year and watched them play this year, including Kirby Smart, would immediately tell you they are significantly improved.
No, there's no question about it. Statistically, wins and losses, just about every category that you can look at. They've done it largely with their own guys. This is not a transfer portal team. They didn't seek improvement from other campuses.
2nd and 18. Bennett down the field, squeezed that in there to Washington. Come on.
They used 2 hands on this one. This is a great ball from Stetson Bennett. He just drops it right in there. Look at what, no, he only used 2 hands towards the end. He just had that left hand on it initially.
It was a completed pass. The previous play is under further review.
I think it's going to stand, at least at first glance. Everybody marvels at the sheer size of this man. He's becoming one whale of a receiver, too.
Literally and figuratively. Watch his left hand come out and snag this ball. That's pretty impressive. I mean, the right arm couldn't even get through until later. What they're looking at is seeing if he has firm control before he goes out of bounds. Anthony Orgy's got his hand in there. I'm not sure that, based on what we've seen already, gosh, Orgy's all over Darnell Washington before the ball even arrives. But it looks to me like he's got firm control. That's 0. I mean, that's a ton of contact prior to the ball arriving. Flag did not come out. But you see Washington, he doesn't have to have that ball into his body to have firm control.
I think just about anybody else would have lost that football.
Yeah.
And he's moving it from one hand to the other, but he seems to have control of it while he's doing it.
Well, he's got like those tennis racket-sized hands. You reach out and grab one.
You can't defend that ball any better than Orgy just did.
No. I mean, in fact, it was, might have gotten there more than a little bit early. And still, potentially anyway, Washington comes up with a catch.
Steve Marlowe still talking to Birmingham. Randy Watkins, Jordan Craddock, part of the process to determine whether or not this is a catch. What do you think, Alyssa?
This is exactly what Nolan Smith told me earlier this week makes Darnell Washington such a threat. You know, in the NFL, they say put it where the kids can't get it. Nolan said that's exactly what Stetson does every single day, and people don't realize how good of an athlete Darnell is when you see him because he's just so big. This is the second example of Stetson putting it where the kids don't get it.
After further review, the rule on the field stands. First down, Georgia.
That's one of the catches of the year in college football.
It really is. So he caught it with one hand with his right hand. Now he caught it with one hand really with his left hand. And the right hand coming over the top of Orgy. You said it, Taylor. I mean, Orgy's all over him. It just doesn't matter. You know, and where the kids can't get it, that's pretty much everybody standing next to this dude.
I wish everyone could go to field level.
You can't appreciate it until you're down there.
And just see him.
In Jurassic Park or something.
Cam Newton was that way. Javon Curse, Jadeveon Clowney. This guy might be more impressive than them. Bennett, again, that offensive line breaks down, and Stetson goes down for the second time on this drive. Michael Owusu, and it looked like the ball came out.
Well, Bennett's out of that pile without the ball. You saw Vanderbilt jumping in there late. That usually means the ball popped out, but officials signaling Georgia does maintain possession. So he ends up stepping up. Nate Clifton ends up pressuring him upfield, and Broderick Jones there late. Boy, Stetson Bennett gets torqued backwards. It's ugly looking into that play. Michael Owusu, Anthony Orgy, and it was meat at the quarterback there. Is the ball out?
Tate Ratledge jumped on it. The right guard. Dejon Edwards only gets a few. Stinch, for the rest of your life, you're immediately going to look at the line of scrimmage when a play starts. That's because that's what you did so well, and it's obviously where you always saw the game from. How would you evaluate this Georgia offensive line halfway through the season?
I would say that they're much improved. And in fact, it's been this performance, and certainly last week. Last week was a strong performance by a unit that frankly was probably covered up. You know, the laser light show, the perimeter skill might have covered up some deficiencies, and they redoubled their efforts last week versus Auburn.
Bennett 3rd and 9, and he throws behind Rosemy-Jacksaint.
Bennett's pass is incomplete, intended for Rosemy-Jacksaint.
So 4th down, and we'll see if the offense stays on the field. It's kind of no man's land. You can attempt a 48, 49-yard field goal, but I think Kirby Smart and Todd Monken are more interested in seeing this offense get back on track.
We talked about the offensive front. You know, we're misassigned on that cross dog with the 2 inside linebackers blitzing, and then, of course, a little bit of edge pressure to force Bennett up. Can he keep a clean pocket? Vanderbilt doing a good job affecting the passer.
Perfect on 4th down this year, and they still are. What a ball to Kearis Jackson.
Wow. How about that? And you're looking at it and you're going, having to battle back on a 4th and 10. Pretty clean pocket here. Good job up front, protecting back as well. And Kearis Jackson, who's been far more limited this year, typically when he's called upon, has proven to be a clutch receiver.
63 career catches for the senior from Fort Valley, Georgia. Branson Robinson way behind Bennett. Runs right at that Vanderbilt defense for a few. I think Georgia doesn't know who their first string tailback is, which is fine. It's whoever has the hot hand. And if the game's on the line in a couple weeks against Tennessee or Florida or Mississippi State, or later in the year maybe in an SEC championship game against Alabama, that might remain the case, Stitch. Whoever's hot.
Yep. Yeah, situationally, I'll be curious to see if anybody ever goes out there first other than Kenny McIntosh. Veteran guy, really good. Gives you flexibility in the passing game, but there's no question that as far as contributions, I don't know that one has separated themselves. There's not a feature back in this offense.
Robinson was terrific last week. Bennett almost had it picked off there. He threw it right at Kane Patterson. 3rd down.
So Broderick Jones kind of throwing his hands up.
3rd down.
Quite tell what they were trying to accomplish there. If it was like a tight end screen, Delp was in the vicinity. Regardless, another 3rd and long. They've already converted a 4th and 10. In the red zone, Vanderbilt defensively has dialed up the pressure. You see they're stacked in there now. Elijah McAllister there in the middle of the defensive front, along with Anthony Orji.
This is where Stetson has shined today, but he's running for his life, and he's not going to get there. He's drilled before he went out of bounds by Wusu and McAllister.
You see the frustration on the quarterback of Georgia. He throws his hands up, works on that right shoulder again. It's an ugly shot that he takes. He's looking to throw late.
For 96, now wearing 44. Georgia.
35-yard attempt for Podlesny. He's passed Rodrigo Blankenship to become the most accurate kicker in Georgia history several times this year before missing a field goal, which knocked him below. If he makes this, he is once again ahead of Rodrigo Blankenship as the most accurate kicker in school history. It's 34-0, the #1 team in the country, with 1:40 to go up on Vanderbilt here in the 3rd quarter. Coming up after our game, it's number 16 Mississippi State versus number 22 Kentucky and Lexington. State running that 3-game winning streak. SEC Saturday Night presented by T-Mobile is also available on the ESPN app. And after that, it is SEC football final. Dari, Chris, Benjamin Takio, they'll take you through the biggest stories of the day and break down all the games. That's after Mississippi State, Kentucky. Every time I ever read "This is what's coming up next" promo, I think of Pat Summerall. In the 80s, he would say, "Coming up next, 60 minutes followed by Murder, She Wrote." And that's the way he did the read, and John Madden would start laughing uncontrollably. R.I.P. Angela Lansbury, by the way, who passed away this week. But I always love Summerall pausing for that comma.
That shattering pause there. Let's let it breathe. Murder, She Wrote. Which is, when you think about it, it wasn't punctuated that way. He's taking some artistic license.
That's right. See if Vanderbilt can score some points today. They'll get it at the 25, down 34 zip. It's been all dogs so far in this one. Stetson Bennett, 24 of 30 for 289 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lad McConkey over there, he's all right. Has not come back in the game, but as Alyssa said, looked okay on that sideline. Kirby Smart frustrated with the way his offense has played the last couple of drives, but his defense has been sensational. And that picks up a couple. Kirby really likes the way that Clark Lee schemes his defense.
Patrick Smith, the ball carrier.
In fact, he had a lot of good things to say about Clark earlier this week when he was running the defense at Notre Dame. Did a tremendous job there. They played Notre Dame a couple of times and loved what he saw. In fact, they shared ideas a couple of years ago. Clark Lee and his staff came here to Athens before they got the job at Vanderbilt and talked ball, and Clark talked about how beneficial that experience was. Talk shop with Kirby and his staff. 2nd and 7 for Swan. And he just throws it into the bench.
A ton of respect, there's no doubt. Seemingly mutual. There's amongst the staffs 2 defensive-minded head coaches. Of course, they've met a couple of times. Clark Lee with his time at Notre Dame, both in 17, and then when they came here to Athens, talking before the game, Clark Lee was talking about this is a great atmosphere to play in. He said maybe the greatest atmosphere, game atmosphere he's ever been in was when Notre Dame visited Georgia and played in that night game a couple years ago.
Georgia's defensive communication has been terrific all day. See if it is again on this 3rd and 7. Swan gets it out and it almost was picked off. Ringo, I think, was thinking about that end zone. 4th down. Since he hasn't had one since he got one off Bryce Young in the title game, that sure looked like another one.
Oh, that was a touchdown. That's a touchdown going the other way. He read that, was underneath that route, trying to get the ball to McGowan. Vanderbilt is lucky to be able to punt this football away. See the pressure kind of closing in? And it doesn't get much prettier than that from a defensive back perspective.
Karis Jackson, nice catch. And goes out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Here's today's Mayhem Moment, brought to you by Allstate. It has to be that catch that Darnell Washington made, right?
Which one? We had 2 that was fantastic. We'll go with the one where he ended up going down the field. Did a great job of just corralling this pass. Defender draped all over him. Get that left paw out there. Ended up in his right hand. They took a good long look at it and said, yep, that's a heck of a catch.
Hey, Alyssa, there's Carson Beck on the field.
Yeah, we got a little QB change on the sidelines, but don't worry, Stetson Bennett came off after that last drive, coaching up the offense as he always does, despite being up 34-0, still fired up.
Spins it over there to Denylon Morissette. And Morissette gets out for 10 yards to the 39-yard line. Boy, Beck looks the part. You stand behind him and watch him sling it around. You say this is what a pocket passer should look like. Todd Monken always says that too. 6'4", 215, getting to study behind Stetson Bennett. Will have every chance to be the starting quarterback next year.
Yes, they've been more intentional with him when he gets his reps in relief of Stetson Bennett, more opportunities to throw the football. And they need to be able to see that in game as well. And part of the reason why Stetson Bennett's on the sideline, he took a big shot on that scramble. Probably wasn't pleased with back-to-back possessions here in the second half, ending in field goals from the red zone.
While things are tight in Knoxville, it has been a perfect homecoming in Athens. All dogs over the doors. Been a perfect day for the Bulldogs through 45 minutes of action. And field level, it's been impressive to watch for all types of Bulldogs. 34-0 going to the final frame. Carson Beck in at quarterback. Turns and hands to Branson Robinson. Robinson stays on his feet. It's a first down for Georgia into Vanderbilt territory. That's what you want to see from a true freshman.
Not just from the running back. This is a heck of an effort by number 22. Big Broderick Jones coming down there from his left tackle spot to give him some push. Not cleanly blocked. See Tate Ratledge didn't get up on Anthony Orji, and instead Robinson doing a lot of effort there. And Broderick Jones down there to help him out downfield.
Xavier Truss a little slow to get up. He is walking under his own power to the sideline. And Warren Erickson, Mr. Everything on the offensive line, comes in.
They trust him. Plug him in at center or either one of those guard spots.
Beck all day to throw. Perfect ball down to Kieras Jackson to the Vandy 27.
Clean pocket. Really nice protection. Four-man rush. See Kieras Jackson saying, yeah, feed me. Let's get some more targets. Carson Beck just drills this one in there. Kieras Jackson saying, yeah, give me some looks.
It's a 21-yard completion stint. That's the 8th 20-plus yard reception Georgia's had today. Beck underneath this time, caught by Cole Spear, just his second. Excuse me, that's Morzette, to Nylon Morzette. Morzette now 4 catches on the season, the freshman from Stone Mountain.
Gain of 3 on the play.
A couple of targets here late in this ball game. Some of these guys, as they round out that wide receiving core, we talked about it, been missing some key contributors, developing depth here in the fourth quarter.
Robinson, or Edwards rather, leaves the backfield all day. Perfect ball to Bell for a touchdown. That was too easy.
Number 96 for Georgia is now wearing 44.
Stetson Bennett running out there for the hold because Carson Beck was in there for the series. It's too much time. A beautiful ball, puts it right on his shoulder. Dylan Bell takes it in for another score. A couple of field goals and a touchdown here in the second half.
All dogs, 41-0. Stetson Bennett was terrific. He was 24 of 30. Carson Beck, 4 of 4, 57 yards and a touchdown streak to the true freshman Dylan Bell on homecoming. It's defense, special teams, music, scenery, stadium,
weather.
I mean, it's 10 out of 10 for the dogs today. Take a look at the top 10. What's happening? Everybody paying attention to what's going on in Knoxville. It's a whale of a game there. Bama's down at the 2-yard line, down 34-28 in that great game. Michigan crushed Penn State today. That's impressive for Jim Harbaugh. Clemson's at FSU tonight. Excited to watch that over on ABC. SC's at Utah at 8 Eastern. How about the Pokes going to Fort Worth? They got the lead by 2 touchdowns.
Man.
I got to tell you, you're right. You said it during the break. Ole Miss, they're undefeated. They're 9th in the country. I'm not sure they're ready for the Dogs or the Tide.
Ooh.
Swan takes on defenders.
Bear,
Jalen Walker and Bear Alexander greet Mr. Swan. Go ahead on the top 10, Stitch. What do you think? Well, you see this play.
Bear Alexander, one of those true freshmen, getting some needed reps.
Jalen Walker also in on the tackle.
Strong finish to that play. Yeah, you know, it's interesting.
The gain of 3 to the 28.
When you're looking at some of these teams, like an Ole Miss, right? Kentucky without Will Levis dropping a game to South Carolina. How good are the Rebels? They've looked, from a win-loss standpoint, really strong. And as you pointed out, versus this defense, what does that look like? We saw them last week. Then again today, you know, 34 points to that Auburn offense. That's concerning.
Tyke Smith and Dalen Everett coming over there to converge on Jaden McGowan, who didn't get much. 3rd down.
Dalen Everett in there getting some early reps. Finished the 2nd quarter in there at cornerback. True freshman contributor.
Swan on 3rd and 6 just dumps it off to Smith, and Smith gets drilled but short of the 1st down at the 30-yard line. Bullard and Walker were there. Kirby Smart talked about Georgia's defensive communication when you asked him what was the thing maybe he's most impressed by so far this season, and he said that, you know, you think of all the first-round talent that they lost last year on that historic defense. This one is communicated incredibly well, especially today.
Yeah, they've been very tied together today, there's no doubt. Jamin Dumas-Johnson, a guy who's new to that role, linebacker. He talked about even Malachi Starks, a true freshman. What a great job he's done in communication early on.
Tell you what, Matthew Hayball's going to have a chance to punt in the NFL. Jackson takes it off the bounce at the 10. He can fly, and he's down short of the 40-yard line. It's a 60-yard punt, but a 30-yard return by the speedy Mr. Jackson. 41-0 Dogs.
SEC Network Football is presented by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Athens has been on full the last 24 hours.
Is that a turkey? Oh, it's a bulldog.
That's what made me hesitate. Is I wasn't sure. Is that a bulldog? We need a
turkey
aerial shot of that hat.
All right. Yeah.
It's been fun being here for homecoming, where Georgia leads 41-0. Keep a close eye on Alabama and Tennessee. Tennessee's up 34-28 in that game, and Alabama just got a touchdown taken off the board because of a holding penalty.
They're going to delay a game. Bama on the road. They have struggled.
It's kind of like week 17 in the NFL where you're paying attention to a couple games at once. We'll start doing the same thing here. Beck gets out of there somehow, and he shows off the wheels.
Not bad. That's smart. Tuck it and run it. Texas was kind of breaking down. Nowhere to go with the football downfield. Beck being opportunistic. You see his Barr came blowing up in there. Beck showing good decision making, but also pretty able body to get down there.
Beck pick up to 13.
Bryce Young just pulled a Houdini act, Fran Tarkenton-esque, to keep the play alive. Drew a pass interference on the defense, and Alabama's got a fresh set of downs. We'll keep it going with that. Beck gets it over to the sideline, where it's complete. And it's Jackson Meeks, sophomore from Phoenix City, Alabama, right on the Alabama-Georgia line.
That was made by number 32.
A story on Meeks this week. They were talking about his contributions on special teams, how he's kind of grinded his way onto the field.
Sets up 2nd and 3.
A guy that contributes not just in normal downs, but also in some of the special teams units. They have definitely contributed to this football team, and the coaches have taken notice.
Beck. Another good ball inside the 25 to Meeks. First down, Georgia after 18 more.
Instead of just drilling it in there. Running off a play action. See it, Branson Robinson coming up in there. Kane Patterson kind of bluffing the blitz and then dropping in the coverage. Ends up making the tackle on Meeks. Just getting back-to-back targets here in the fourth quarter.
First and 10 for Georgia. Alabama's taken the lead on Tennessee with just over 4 minutes to go in the third quarter in Knoxville. Beck. Boy, he's looked good, man. Getting out of the pocket, finding open receivers, and look who makes the catch. Eric Gilbert. Where have you gone, Mr. Gilbert? A 12-yard completion, and the fans still on hand recognize it too.
With the tackle for Vanderbilt.
Substituted in, started his career at LSU, was with the team but did not play last season.
It's his first career catch.
First and 10 at the 11.
At Georgia.
At Georgia, yeah. Oh, he was a menace at LSU.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
Beck, oh, he was 7 of 7 until Cash Jones dropped that ball.
Beck's pass is incomplete.
Now 7 of 8.
32,
Cash Jones. Boy, was he eager. He couldn't get that ball in his hands fast enough, and that was the quintessential run before you catch it.
Robinson comes back in.
2nd and 10.
I wonder if we might get to see Brock Vandegrift before this game is over with. Beck moves that pocket, throws on the run. Here's Jackson, did make the catch, touchdown. We waited for the signal, he hit the fence, but got a foot down before so.
See Stetson Bennett out there to celebrate with Carson Beck, and you're talking about Kyrus Jackson.
96 for Georgia is now wearing 44.
96 is wearing 44, everybody.
In case you didn't know.
Yep.
Every time.
Every extra point. He's going to be out there wearing that 44.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
Zion Logue can never hide from anyone when he switches uniforms because he wears the same number as Todd Lesney. But I got to see this Kyrus Jackson catch. Kirby wants to see it too.
Yeah, where's that foot? Is it on the line?
That side judge was watching closely too. He waited for quite a while. Stinch, you're supposed to make the catch through the ground. What about the catch through the fence?
Yeah, that's the tricky part. You see as he possesses it, and it looks like his left foot is out.
Yeah.
As he possesses that football. You're right, I mean, it's pretty tight down there in the corners. Yeah, the chain link does come into play, doesn't it? You gotta catch it, you gotta maintain control through the hedge.
There's a lot of extra obstacles here at Sanford Stadium. You got privet hedges and chain link fences. And
it was like steeplechase.
It was a heck of a catch, but unfortunately Mr. Jackson's left toes were on the chalk.
After further review, receiver's left foot was out of bounds when he gained firm possession of the ball. Therefore, we have an incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd down at the 11-yard line.
More reps. Look at it, spin it positive, right? And of course, Zion Lowe can leave that number 44 jersey on, maybe. Save him.
He does. He still has it on.
Yeah, just leave it on. Play the odds. Or at least go out there for field goal protect. That's got to be a hassle. That's a big man. Just wrestling his way into and out of those jerseys.
Third and 10 for Beck. Blitz is picked up. Incomplete. Tried to sandwich it in there, and Vandy grabbed Jackson Meeks early.
Beck's pass incomplete.
Beck got his jersey dirty there.
Defense number 8. Foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 2-yard line with an automatic first down.
Clark Lee not happy with the call. Georgia gets away with a hold there in protection, and BI gives them a fresh set of downs. Clark Lee's incredulous at that call.
Robinson, no sir, is going to lose yardage.
Kind of tried to jump cut and get it outside. Good job.
It was Russell right after the penalty. He came in there and made the tackle.
Got a rally, and he did so. Really, yeah, you see it right away. C.J. Taylor was the one that was inside the block and forced Robinson to try to jump cut outside. Nowhere to go. Vanderbilt scratching, fighting, and clawing to keep Georgia out of the end zone one more time.
Cash Jones is in the game at tailback. Back across the middle, incomplete. It's thrown behind Meeks, and Russell again was right there with him.
Beck's pass incomplete, intended for Meeks in the end zone.
You see Beck, he wanted that one back. Didn't like the location of this one. Comes back to Meeks here. Meeks got to come up with that catch for his quarterback. Was a little bit behind him, sure. But enough on his body where you come up with that catch. Both of them disappointed.
Tennessee just turned it over. Alabama gets it back up 1 near the end of the third quarter. Dogs looking for another touchdown here on the 3rd and goal. Beck, touchdown. Eric Gilbert with a touchdown for the Georgia Bulldogs. After everything this young man has gone through the last couple of years,
Georgia is now wearing 44.
He scores a touchdown for the school he cheered for his whole life.
You can tell his teammates are excited. Nice protection. Actually, Ethan Barr leaking there late. DeRicky Wright couldn't get it out of the hands of Eric Gilbert. Seemed like a lot of the sideline empty to go celebrate with him.
Until Darnell Washington comes onto the practice field, you're blown away by Eric Gilbert, and you're thinking, how does anybody stop this guy? 2 years ago at LSU, no one did. Celebrates as a Georgia Bulldog here.
Studio, we do update what's going on in Knoxville. Jahmyr Gibbs' 3rd rushing touchdown puts Alabama up 35-34. Tennessee missed an extra point. Thus, they're down 1. And then Hendon Hooker throws his first interception of the year. It's DeMarcus Helms with the INT. 4th and 10, Bama at the Tennessee 40, up by 1, go to the 4th.
Keep us updated, my friend. Here, it's all Dogs with 7:21 to go. Jared Zirkle kicking it deep. And Vandy will start at the 25-yard line. That game is massive in trying to determine who might make the college football playoff. It certainly is for Tennessee. Ohio State has an 81% chance. If Alabama wins, that'll get even higher. Tennessee moves up to 48% if they win the game. Again, a 1-point game going to the fourth quarter. Georgia's chances are 68%, in part just because their schedule, in my opinion, and clearly in the playoff predictor's opinion, is harder than Alabama's and Ohio State's.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've got Tennessee yet to play, Mississippi State. I think a lot of them, what they're effectively saying here too, I think, is that there's more than likely Georgia's going to face Alabama in the conference championship game as well. Those other teams don't have near a difficult row.
After the play, sportsmanlike conduct, Georgia number 90. We also had a sportsmanlike conduct number 32 for Vanderbilt. Their first unsportsmanlike of the game. Fouls will cancel. It'll be first down, Vanderbilt.
Ethan Barr and Darius Smith.
Right side of your screen, as you see, Ethan Barr kicking at Darius Smith. Darius Smith standing over Ethan Barr. Both pretty lousy decisions. Ethan Barr didn't like it. Can't retaliate. It's always the second guy. Looked like Darius Smith standing over him was probably what instigated that.
With Alyssa Lang and Matt Stinchcomb, Taylor Zarzer in Athens watching the Dogs play like the #1 team in America, pitching this shutout. Alyssa, the defense hasn't skipped a beat after losing all those players to the draft last year.
Yeah, I had a lengthy and really great conversation with Nolan Smith this past week about his own career, about this Georgia defense. And always, when I talk to these guys, I like to end the conversation by asking them, hey, is there anything that you don't feel like has been talked about enough yet about your team, about your unit, what hasn't been asked enough? And Nolan kept going back to the fact that this defense's identity is a bunch of no-ego guys. He said, we label ourselves as the no-name defense. And this year, he said, guys took it to a different level by focusing on being better, playing as one. They know that people say that they can't do this year in and year out. But he said, this is one of the most fun years I've had here in Athens. Guys are bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. They can't wait to get out there. And he gave a great example of how this works on a game day. He said, people see Pop, a.k.a. Jamin Dumas-Johnson, yelling at Kamari Lassiter on the sidelines a few weeks ago in that Missouri game out in Como. He said that's a perfect example of the connection that we have because Kamari's sitting there listening to everything that Pop is saying without fighting back or sucking his teeth, is what Nolan said. No matter what coach says, it may not always happen without your teammate emphasizing what needs to be done, and they have no problem, young or old, doing that on this defense.
I love hearing that, and that's the kind of leadership that you have to have if you're going to win another national championship. Mike Wright in at quarterback, hands it off to Ray Davis. That's the first down of the second half for Vanderbilt. And look, to the point Alyssa's making, ultimately, do you want to be a program that won a national championship like Georgia did 50-plus years ago and 40-plus years ago? Or do you want to be a program that wins multiple national championships over a handful of years? That's exactly what Kirby Smart wants. He doesn't want to be one of the teams that won one. He wants to be the team during the Nick Saban era that wins the most of them.
Probably wants to redefine that era, maybe even end one.
Kirby never stops coaching.
Vanderbilt, their first of the half.
5:11 to go, and you saw it on the screen. Vanderbilt hasn't scored a touchdown against Georgia in 4 years.
Laurie Noka in studio. It is wild on Rocky Top, guys. Alabama up by 135-34. Hendon Hooker fires. Jalen Hyatt got it. 78 yards to the house. His fourth touchdown catch of the afternoon. They go for two after missing a previous extra point, and they got it. Tennessee up 7 a minute into the fourth quarter, guys. Remember, they've lost 15 straight to Bama.
Keep us posted, my friend. Man, I bet Neyland is up for grabs right now. Mike Wright at quarterback tosses it back, and it's Jaden McGowan, the emergency tailback. Two of them gets a few yards. This is what's happened all season. It's been in either Georgia or Alabama that's been the #1 team in college football throughout the year. I realize if Alabama comes back and wins that game, it'd be another huge win. So maybe they'll get some more consideration, but I don't know how you move this Georgia team down after what we've seen today.
Nah, pretty thorough, right? This has been a pretty thorough victory. Put together a strong performance this afternoon versus a Vanderbilt team that gave Ole Miss all they wanted for half a game.
In fact, Alyssa, I would go Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Alabama 3 going into today's action. How did you have it?
Yeah, I have never disagreed. I don't think even with the flip-flopping of number one. Have we ever been through a season like this where the number one team in the country continues to flip-flop without losing when it comes to Bama and Georgia?
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Style points, or not enough of them.
Who can put 50 up first, basically?
And one of those, right? You're talking about one team that spent time at number one that was without their starting quarterback for an entire game.
Right, short. Patrick Smith. It's going to be 4th down. It's Darius Smith, Jalen Walker come in to make the tackle.
I wonder if they brought in structural engineers up there in Knoxville to make sure Neyland could handle this still. It's been a long time since it's been like this in Neyland Stadium.
If this holds and they win the game, we might be witnessing new goalposts next week.
That's a great point.
They got some new ones in case they won.
Let me tell you this, guys. I've been obviously down here on the sidelines since that Bama-Tennessee game started. And as it has continued, everyone down here is talking about November 5th when Tennessee comes to Athens.
See if Vandy can move the chains on a 4th down. Watch out, Mike. Nyland Green, no one saw him. It's a turnover on downs.
Number 1, Nyland Green off the edge.
Boy, Mike Wright barely unloads this football. And he had no idea that Nyland Green was bearing down on him. I mean, right now, the trigger right off the edge. That could have been a headache. Wasn't, ends up getting kind of rolled down. Nyland Green with a free run from the blind side.
Brock Vandegrift comes into the game. A freshman from Bogart, Georgia. Elite arm talent, tough kid too. Looking for his first completion on the season. Savon Clark, junior from Dawsonville, carries it for 6. I understand that the Brocks on this team are hunters. Vandegrift has taught Bowers what it's like to hunt in Georgia.
That was the Stetson Bennett story on the big 6'3", 205-pounder from right up the road, Bogart. His high school ball at Prince Avenue for his old man.
And Clark again. Gets up near the 35-yard line. Stench, I realized that they didn't play this game 2 years ago due to COVID. We were supposed to call it. Kirby Smart had to tell us on our Friday call the game wasn't happening. Just COVID 2020 is just wacky. But Georgia gave up 2 field goals to Vanderbilt in the 2019 game. Shut them out 62-0 in Nashville last year. It's going to be 3 consecutive meetings without allowing a touchdown to Vanderbilt.
That's pretty dominant. That's a massive understatement. Almost gave up that field goal, right? The first half.
Cash Jones, house call for the freshman from Brock, Texas. 36 yards.
He had that drop earlier, got back in there. Nice blocking up front. They make one guy miss.
For Georgia, now wearing number 44.
He finds his way into the end zone. Look at this blocking up front. Well, that's clean. Cash Jones. Nice clean transaction for 6.
Thankfully, Zion Logue is still at the game.
Yeah.
Puts on number 44 again. And Georgia set a season high 579 yards today. It's their 24th rushing touchdown.
The first of the half, 30-second timeout.
tied with Ole Miss with 24 rushing touchdowns. Mr. Logue and his uniform changes continues. Zion, you cannot hide from Steve Marlowe. He will find you.
Yes, he is aware that you're wearing number 44 now.
And number 96 on his head.
That's confusing. Look at that thing. What is that made out of? Is it all elastic? It's like a Glad bag with a 44 painted on it. A Hyperflex. Suckers. What's fun is watching the team of equipment guys getting over there to strip it off of him. Call timeout to get Stetson Bennett out there as the holder.
Podlesny makes it 55-0.
Here we go. Let's see this thing come off. Here comes the Army to help him. These guys got to be just exhausted.
He's still got 96 on underneath.
They got it down to a science.
A little more challenging when you got to put 44 back on, which he's had to do about 15 times today.
It's all stretched out now. That thing pops right off.
Hey, Stitch, Monday at 7 Eastern, Thinking Out Loud is back with Spencer Hall and Richard Johnson. They break down the weekend on the gridiron, discuss the hottest topics for the coming week, and preview next Saturday's biggest games. It's on SEC Network. It's also on the ESPN app. I'm sure they'll have a lot to say about Tennessee and Alabama, the talk of the South and the talk of college football, really. This week, College Game Day there again this week. And Tennessee is up 42-35 with under 12 minutes to go in the game. And Alabama has the ball.
How about that sequence there? Well, the last Alabama touchdown, 3 penalties in a row, a holding, delay of game, and then a PI.
Who do you give a better chance of getting to the SEC championship game, Alyssa? Georgia or Alabama? I guess maybe a better way of asking is, who do you think has the tougher road to get to Atlanta?
Oh my goodness. The SEC West is obviously a tough division to play, and I look at the SEC East right now outside of Tennessee, which is easily going to be a challenge, and I think Georgia's far and away ahead of everyone on that side of the division. I don't think they have any issue in Jacksonville. I think at this point with this Kentucky team, Georgia takes care of them as well, but they're going to have to get over this volunteer hump at this point.
They pick up Mississippi State out of the West.
That's
one of the tough teams.
It's going to be a tough one. Ray Davis gets a couple. Commanding just 137 total yards in the game. That might be more impressive than all of Georgia's record offensive numbers today.
I mean, given the performance they put together offensively a week ago, there's no doubt that Vanderbilt, they take a step back. A different proposition today. Clark Lee knew it. You know, he recognized coming in that this was a hill to climb. He mentioned this is kind of the measuring stick game. You have to think that maybe a step backwards after this one.
Yeah, it's a rough day as Wright lost the ball, but he lost it as the ground caused the fumble at the 35-yard line. I will say, I'm impressed by him. In our meetings with him, it feels like he has a real connection with his players and that they are continuing to give effort no matter what the score is. It's going to take years to turn Vanderbilt into a competitive team in the SEC. But it feels like the current players have bought into that, even though there's a huge talent gap with Georgia, Alabama, and others.
No, I mean, last year was a full-blown rehab job on this roster. Mentally, he had to rehabilitate that team. They're light years different. Now, you'll say, oh, what's the biggest difference? Well, these guys have been competitive. Not today, but in other games they have been.
55-0. Georgia beats Clark Lee and Vanderbilt today. Dogs improved to 7-0. Going into the open week next week, they have the Gators in Jacksonville in 2 weeks. Play Tennessee here in 3 weeks. Vanderbilt's 3-4. They're going to Mizzou next week at 4 o'clock on SEC Network to play the Tigers.
Kickoff time for that game to begin.
Alyssa's with Kirby.
Coach, you challenged your team to bring the intensity and the physicality today. How do you think they did?
We started fast. That was the objective. A little slow in the second half and then got things rolling. Again, we got an off week. We got a lot of players injured. We got to try to get those guys back.
Offensively, you get a bunch of different skill guys, couple different quarterbacks, over 500 yards of total offense. What will be the emphasis over the next 2 weeks?
To get better. We got a lot of things we can improve on, and that starts internally with us. We got a really tough road coming up, and we got to do a good job.
What does it mean to pitch a defensive shutout in the SEC?
It's always a pleasure to get a shutout, and we played a lot of defensive players today, so that's what makes me proud is the guys that came in, they helped keep that shutout.
Thanks, Coach. Congrats.
Thank you.
It's 2 straight shutouts over an SEC team in a series for the first time since they did that against Kentucky in 1980 and 1981. It's the 10th shutout in the Kirby Smart era and 6th against an SEC opponent. Final score, Georgia 55, Vanderbilt nothing. For our guy, Matt Stinchcomb, for Alyssa Lang, our entire SEC Network college football team, I'm Taylor Zarzer. Mississippi State and Kentucky at the bottom of the hour. Dari Noka has you in the studio coming up next.